Hey everyone, welcome to Our Small Footprint. My name is Nyssa, and if you're new here, we are a large family living off-grid in Australia. It is Sunday, and normally on Sundays I do a bit of a chat and catch up for the week. Darryl and some of the children are at church this morning, and I have the twins home with me who choose to stay home, but we also only have a 5-seater car. So to a degree, some of the kids have to always stay home, but the twins choose to stay home with me and they give me a hand around the house. So it is cold. It's not overly cold right now because the sun has come out, which is pleasant, but it's chilly enough. It's got down to negative 3.3, I think, overnight. I put a photo up on Facebook. The water was frozen out of the tap, so I'll put that here. And making coffee was a chilly affair this morning. I have this little clip of the steam coming off the coffee cup, which is really cool. I thought I might do something with that, so I'll put that in here for you to have a look at. The kids have had instant porridge for breakfast already, and we're about due to make a new batch of that. I actually realized someone asked in the comments of that video how the sweetener went in it instead of all raw sugar. And the instant porridge has lasted a really long time, this particular batch, longer than normal. And I had forgotten that I put some sweetener in there with the raw sugar, and maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's just not quite as nice that way. So I will go back to putting just the raw sugar in it, because that would be my choice. It was just, I didn't have enough sugar left when I was making it. We had run out, so I used some sweetener instead, but I'm going to go back to using just the raw sugar. I actually might use coconut sugar because we have that coconut sugar that I get in bulk. Someone asked in the comments where I got that coconut sugar. I got it from Naturally Sweet, which is the company that I buy the sweetener from. It's these guys. And there is a code Nyssa5 in the description to give you a discount as well. So I buy their monk fruit erythritol blend for using in the keto style snacks for Darryl and I. But they had 10 kilo boxes of coconut sugar as well. I actually got it cheaper because it was short dated, which didn't worry me. I don't know if there's any left on the site that's short dated, but that's where I got it from. Previously, I get it from Honest to Goodness, but when I buy an Honest to Goodness order, I always buy a bulk order. I do a wholesale account and I spend over $500 and get it delivered all in a big batch because the shipping is quite extensive. So it's better off doing it as a wholesale big delivery all at once. It ends up costing me 75 cents to $1 extra per kilo for shipping, which is worth it in some products and not in others. So I just assess it at the time. But I haven't done one of those orders in a long time because I just haven't had the cash flow to do such a big order. So when I bought the sweetener, I bought that 10 kilo box of coconut sugar as well, because I really love coconut sugar. It's amazing. It's like, I don't know, 60 to 80 cents per 100 versus raw sugar, which is 16 to 18 cents per 100. So the price discrepancy is significant. So I tend to only use it in things where it makes a difference. So certain baking, like I did the apple pudding the other night with coconut sugar because that caramel flavor in that is really nice. Though we do use raw sugar, which has a little bit of caramelness left in it anyway, but the coconut sugar just really lends itself to certain things. So in like the brown sugar cinnamon instant porridge mix, that will be really nice. So we'll do that. I also had a viewer send me some freeze-dried apples when I was talking about the instant porridge a while back and freeze-dried fruit, and she sent me some of her homemade freeze-dried apples, and I've kept them all sealed up because the plan is to make some apple cinnamon porridge mix with those freeze-dried apples, which will be amazing. So we're going to do that. What else? We took the last 2 cats in to be desexed last week, the week just gone. Sinatra and Panda both needed to be desexed, neutered, so they got taken in. And while Darryl was dropping them off, there was a cat there that had needed a new home. It had been unwell. It had given itself food poisoning, eating something it shouldn't, and it was looking for a new home. And Darryl sort of said he was so cute. And anyway, we brought her home yesterday after she had recovered. So I'll put a little photo in here of her. She is a little black and white ragdoll cross, ragdollish, some ragdoll in her. And we brought her home. She's about 6 months old, but she's really tiny. So she's too small to be desexed, which doesn't matter because every other cat in the house is now desexed. So that's fine. Darryl's planning on trying to seal in our office space so that we can have the smaller cats stay indoors only for the moment, but more than just the 6x3 room that they're in sharing with Sonnet. So he's going to try and sort that out, but we brought her home. I Haven't 100% set on a name, but I think I'm going to call her Mercury. So we will see. I'm one of those people who likes to have an animal for a bit before I give her a name. She didn't have a name from where she came from. So we got her yesterday as well. This week's a bit of a busy one. I am going to Brisbane again this week because Mum is getting cataract surgery. So I'm going to go down and just help her out for the 48 hours that she needs. Take her to the surgery, take her to the post-op appointment, and just supervised for 24 hours because you're classed as a falls risk for the 24 hours because you have it patched. She had her other one done a couple of years ago and I did the same thing for the other one. So we're getting the second eye done this time. And Sonnet's going to come with me for this trip. She's been really wanting to come for a trip, but I'm not comfortable bringing a child to a shopping trip. I get asked all the time if I would bring them with me. They're really long, arduous, heavy planning, and it's not a fun trip. Yes, I get to spend some time with Mum and that's great. Having some evenings that are free, I get some, some foods that I wouldn't normally eat, and I get some TV time with Mum of an evening. But the actual process of the shopping and everything, it's really long days. It's really hard work. It's a lot of brain power, and I'm just not comfortable having a child with me because, and not to mention that like this trip, the last trip that I did, there was nowhere in the car to put a child. But this trip will be purely for Mum. So I'm going to take Sonnet with me, and we might take the new kitten with us too, since it'll be straight after we've just got her, and we'll take her down and Mum can meet her, and Sonnet has her to play with at Mum's place and things like that. So we're going to do that. I think I mentioned in the last video that I was thinking about things that I might need to spend some money on. I had another lady contact me in regards to a Thermomix, so that's 8 sold, so thank you very much for that. And I'm pretty comfortable with the other two. Like I'm pretty sure I'm going to get there, and I'm going to stay positive about it. So one of the things I was looking at was another chest freezer. So, okay, I'm getting waylaid. One of the things I did this week that I'm going to show on the footage, I got a food hamper too, so I need to show you that. But one of the things I did after I got the food hamper, hang on, let's go back. Food hamper week. It was food hamper week. Aberdeen food pantry, once a month food hamper that we receive. They organise it out here and we collect it from a shed out here, a location out here. Peter and Lois organise it. You order the food hamper about a week and a half before they are going to be delivered, so that they know how many they need to order for everyone. And then once you put your order in on the Saturday, you go and collect it at about 11 o'clock on the Saturday morning. They've got it all there. You get a box of miscellaneous, which is the hamper. It is $50, and you get what you're given, whatever is in that $50 hamper each month. And then each month there's the opportunity for extras or to shop from their pantry store as well, which has discounted goods that they've been able to receive to pass on discounted to us. So this month they had barrels of apples, had bags of potato, apples, mandarins, and corn, I think. So Darryl goes, he collects the $50 hamper, he collects whatever he wants out of the barrels. It's $2 a bag for the fruit and veg, generally speaking. I think it was $5 for the bags of potatoes. And then he goes, shops the pantry store, normally for treat stuff at the pantry store. He normally buys either like the kids some soft drink or some chips. I think he got, cheese or something this month, and some bits and pieces, some lollies, whatever, from that little pantry store, just as a treat to add to the hamper. And then I pay for those separately. So it was this month's June's hamper. I filmed it, so let's do that first, and then I'll move on to the next thing. So this is June's Aberdeen Pantry hamper. Alrighty, so what are we in? We're in June. June's monthly Aberdeen food pantry hamper. Let's start here. We have got a couple of packets of instant noodles and some dried spaghetti. There was a little battery operated nose, ear trimmer and beard trimmer in it as well, which is kind of neat. A bottle of Dettol spray and some fibre gummies there, a packet of the spicy cheesels and a box of Wheaties, a couple of packs of the Veda spiral noodles and a kilo of white rice. There is some beef mince here, some sausage mince risole type looking things, and some chicken breasts, as well as some of the broccoli, cauliflower, frozen rice and some peas, a tear and share roll, as well as some loaves of bread and some burger buns. There's a jar of bolognese and a couple of tins as normal. We got some diced tomatoes, tin spaghetti and mixed veggies, a couple of tins of soft drink, and there's a little tiny thing of Vegemite, which we have a collection of. And I did notice that Darryl, when he went to the shop, bought a big thing of Vegemite, and I'm not real sure why, because we have a collection of these little ones. But anyway, Vegemite doesn't go off. We also got a box of pies they're frozen. These were just something that they had for a certain amount for people who got there. The extra fruit, these fruit and veg that came with the hamper was a mixed one. There's some oranges and some corn and a few bits and pieces in there. And then the extra fruit, which was $2 a bag, was apples, some oranges, and I think the potatoes might have been $5 a bag, if I remember correctly. So a big bag of potatoes and a big box of the mixed greens salad. And there was a fennel as well. I think that was, I got the cereal. I think that was all of that. Then Darryl also visited the pantry store like he always does and grabbed a few bits and pieces for the kids, a couple of the spicy cheesels, some bluey snacks, a couple extra packets of the noodles, the strawberry baller sticks and some Cheez-Its, and as I said, that big jar of Vegemite. So he grabbed those extras as well, and that was this month's hamper. Sonnet wants to do a sweep. There you go. All right, so because I got the hamper and it had all those pies and stuff in it, I had to move up with cleaning out the freezer. Now, I mentioned it last video that the freezer was just overflowing with stuff at the moment because the kids had thrown everything in when we did the groceries, and I hadn't had a chance to reorganize it. So this is what the freezer looked like. First, I took a little clip of what the freezer looked like. I think I'm talking on it, so maybe I'll just cut to these clips. I don't know. So what I wanted to do was sort the freezer out so I could get those pies in. So we'll cut to these clips here, the before the freezer and then afterwards to a degree, and then I'll come back. All right, this is what the freezer looks like, which is why I need to sort it out. So we just got the hamper and I need to get this rearranged so that there's actually room in it to be able to put stuff in the freezer. All right, and this is after. Not a very dramatic after, mind you, but at least I know what's in here now. I got a big container of ice out. I didn't do a full de-ice, but I did a significant one. This here, all this is the carcasses from those rotisserie chickens, so they will go in to a pot of stock. Probably I might do that first thing tomorrow, so that will clean the top out there. We had to add things to the freezer, of course. Some things got tossed in the freezer by the children that shouldn't have been tossed quite like this, which is partly why we've got a bit of extra space, a bit of extra stuff in here. We've also got, this is the butter chicken in containers instead of on the shelf like I was supposed to do. But once I pull these bags out of carcass, that will help. There's also a crate under here that is pretty much full of chilies. And I need to make cowboy candy. So it probably won't be this week because I have to go down to Brisbane for Mum's cataract surgery. But next week I will probably pull that entire crate out and make just a ginormous batch of cowboy candy out of that, and that will clean out a whole crate in the bottom. I also haven't gone through the other freezers yet, so some of this stuff, like normally the veggies and cheeses and stuff are stored in the other freezer, but obviously that needs some rearranging to sort it out. But there is at least some room in here now. I'll pull that out, I'll do a little bit more rearranging, and hopefully we'll have it sorted for that bulk meat order. Thank you. I forgot to share the date bark last night, and now that I'm doing the freezer, I've pulled it out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it into some pieces and put it in a container in the fridge, because I think that that's the best way for the kids to just be able to grab a square of it rather than worrying about having to cut it or anything like that. Let's have a look. Let's get a nice cross section to have a look at, which will probably be in the middle because it's always the way. There we go. So we've got the date, biscuit base, the caramel in the middle, chocolate on top, nuts in between. So happy with that. So even after reorganizing the freezer, there's not a lot of space in there at the moment. And part of that is because the kids put stuff in there that doesn't normally go in the freezer as is, like the trays of chicken thighs and stuff. Normally they go into the fridge and they're either cooked and bagged up, or they're bagged up or whatever and put into the freezer afterwards, which takes up a whole lot less space. I'm not entirely sure why the kids did it, because there was plenty of room in the fridge, but they did, and that's whatever. So there is some excess stuff in the freezer at the moment. It's taking up a whole lot of room. Now back to, we're squirreling today. We're really heavily squirreling today. The previous conversation we had about freezers is that with some of the extra money that's coming in, I thought I might buy another 500 litre hybrid fridge freezer, because if I have the funds, I can do something like an honest to goodness order and things like that. But having that bulk grain, nuts, whatever, it needs to be stored in a freezer, especially in summer. In winter here, it's not so bad. So long as it's safe from the mice, then it's fine. But in summer, having it stored externally is not so great. It needs to be stored in something that's sealed, and preferably a freezer where any bugs and stuff can be killed off. So realistically, I need another freezer. And by doing the shopping every 4 to 6 weeks too, we're getting a bit of a backup of food. But to do that, it means I require more freezer space. I also need to get more on the shelves in jars. I need to do an order for Fowler's rings. I've got plenty of lids for my ball mason jars though, but I need that shelf cleaned up, tidied, all the jars that are on there assessed, cleaned, seals checked, and organized so that I know what's on there. So that's a plan for something that I need to do in the next couple of weeks too, is clear up my canning shelves and assess what's on there. We have some canned stuff on the top, squirreling again, I know. We have some canned stuff on the top shelf that I canned, I reckon it's 4 years ago, and they just need to be emptied out to the animals, because it was some green tomato pickles and some green tomato relish, I think, because we had this just absolutely fantastic garden year, and then our frosts hit and I had like kilos and kilos of green tomatoes. So we tried them in a variety of things. No one really likes them. So I need to just tip them all out, feed them to the chooks, and just so that I've got those jars back in rotation and they're not just sitting there gathering dust. But what was I saying? The freezer. So I was Googling the freezer to see if there was any end of financial year sales on, and there is a bump and scratch sale, a second sale on one of them down in Brisbane, and it's $777, and they're normally $1,200 to $1,200. So it's a really significant discount. So I'm going to call them first thing tomorrow morning and see if that's still available, and I'll purchase it online and I'll pick it up on Friday when I'm in Brisbane. So that just works. I don't like picking things like that up when I'm doing a grocery run, because I already am just so overwhelmed with how much that I'm doing. Less so now that we're doing the 4 to 6 week probably, but back when I was doing the 8 to 10 weeks, the overwhelm of picking things up other than the groceries, again, the idea of having a child, it was all just too much. But because I'm going to be down there for this and I'm not doing anything else as such, I might take Sonnet to the shops to pick a pair of shoes or something if we need to. But other than that, we have no real plans other than looking after mum. So we'll probably order in food and watch TV and play with the kitten so that mum can recover with company where it's nice and safe. So, yes, but on the Friday I could drive to Browns Plains. It's somewhat near the fruit shop. I might give Adam a call too and say I happen to be in the area on Friday. Is there anything really good deals that I should come and grab? Because I can do that too. And in this weather, it's not going to be an issue if it's an extra 24 hours before you get home. So I might do that as well. But we might go and collect that freezer. We'll see how we go. I'm going to give them a call tomorrow, make sure that it's available and stuff. And then I'll have that freezer because... Man, we're on a roll today, aren't we? I was going to do that bulk meat order to pick up this Friday, but I'm a bit concerned about the lack of space in my freezer. But most of what's in my freezer isn't meat. But most of what's in the freezer is actually frozen fruits and things like that. It's not a great deal of meat. There is probably 3 kilos of beef mince, 3 bags of beef mince, so maybe 6 kilos of beef mince, a 2 kilo bag of pork mince. There's the chicken that we just bought, so we've got 3 trays of, 6 kilos of chicken thighs, plus the 3 kilos of bone-in thighs. I think there's a bag of chicken wings left, though when I cleaned out the freezer, I don't remember seeing that, so maybe not. And 2 other bags of chicken breasts that were from that bulk order. I probably won't buy breasts again. It's not something that we use enough. And some pre-made bolognese. things like that. That's pretty much it. That's all the meat that's in. We've got a box of fish at the moment too. That's pretty much all the meat that's in the freezer. The rest of it is frozen fruit that we use for smoothies and for whatever else. And as I said, when I was doing the freezer thing, I've got an entire crate of chilies. So I need to pull that whole crate of chilies out and make cowboy candy. That's going to be on my schedule for next week. So I will share that. Everyone's asking me to share that again. So I'm going to think about that. I also have a whole lot of apple butter on the shelf that I canned probably 2 years ago, and I canned it as apple butter because I bought an entire pallet of apples and we just had massive amounts. It was an easy thing to can, but we don't use it a lot. You can use it in baking, but because I canned it in 600 ml bottles, it's not real convenient to use for baking because some of it ends up back in the fridge and we just don't use it very much. But what we did use it for originally when I made the apple butter and I canned the excess apple butter was apple butter barbecue sauce, which is a favorite of mine, and we have none left on the shelf. So what I might do is empty all those jars of apple butter out and make a batch of apple butter barbecue with it. So that's like, there's some canning jobs booked in for next week. And Darryl is going away too. He has synod, so he will be away from like Wednesday through to the next Monday for synod. So, and some training that he's doing down with the church. So the mum's going to come up for the weekend and stay with me. So she'll be here for most of the time that he's gone, but at the same time he'll be gone. So I've got some projects to do there. It's still school term for the kids too, so we're still working on that. It's going to be busy, but a good kind of busy, and we've just about finished. So the D&D jobs that have been eating my time, that have just been completely like overwhelming everything else, we've finished the first two and the third one is like 3/4 of the way done, and then we don't have the next job due for a little bit, so we can actually do it a bit more leisurely than what we have been doing. So that will be amazing. Normally I struggle to figure out what to share on these Sunday videos, and I've got a whole bunch this week, so I managed to score a potbelly stove this morning. So I've been looking for a second fireplace for the house for anyone who's been around. It's been ever since we built the extensions, which was last year. So 12 months, over 12 months, 18 months. I think it was March last year that we built them on. But I was being a little bit picky. I didn't want a big fireplace like the one we already have. It chews through too much wood, but also we just don't need that much heat when we've already got that one going. So I wanted something small, but every time I found something on Marketplace or whatever, it either didn't have a flue and the flue would cost me an extra $500, or the thing is that fireplaces go really quickly. So you query them, but if they're an hour and a half away, they'll sell them to people who can come that day, and we can't always do that. So I've been keeping an eye out, and this morning I pulled up Marketplace and there was a potbelly that was listed that had only been listed half an hour ago. It was local, it's only at Pittsworth, and it's exactly what I've been after. So I messaged her. I was the first one to message her, and I said we could come today after church, and she's like, she's out today, and I'm like, I'm gonna miss it, but she's happy for us to pick it up on Wednesday when she's home again. So she's out today and we can't pick it up today, but she's home Wednesday and she's happy to hold it for me to pick it up Wednesday. So that is amazing. It is a Klondike potbelly in pretty good condition. It comes with some flue, so we'll just buy a little bit of extra flue and an angle to go out the wall, and that will just make a huge difference. And the potbellies use smaller pieces of wood, so we just will cut the wood at the right size for that and have it separate to the wood for the main fire. It will just make a significant difference for the space, and just in time for Mum to come visit because she was a bit concerned about how cold it was going to be. So we've got that sorted. Sonnet has an appointment in Toowoomba on Tuesday, so Darryl's going to take her to that, and he is going to get the extra bits of flue that we're going to need then, and hopefully he'll be able to install it while I'm gone. We'll have to get some pavers for the ground as well, but it's just going through a wall that's only roofing iron, so we'll just put 2 layers of roofing iron for that to go through, and that's fine. What else? I think that's mostly it. I think that's enough, isn't it? I have been standing here waiting for the Thermomix to to update. I turned on the 7 because it's the one that's plugged in and it needed an update. So I've just been waiting for it to update. So the thing with the Thermomixes now compared to the old ones is that they're on the Wi-Fi. So you can say no to an update, but I decided while I was doing this, I may as well. So it's just been updating and downloading. The twins have asked for a pancake bake. So I'm about to make that for them, which I've made multiple times on video. I keep on taking photos of it thinking I really need to get it up on the website. So that should be the next sort of thing that I do up on the website, because it's all Sonnet has it written down as well, because Sonnet comes out and makes it regularly. It's just so simple and it works every time. So it's something that we make all the time. But yeah, I did get a new order of, I really shouldn't advertise these guys because they weren't willing to sponsor me, but at the same time, if I like a product, I like a product. So in the end, Macro Mike has an end of financial year sale on every year, and they normally have a Black Friday sale. And they're the 2 times that I tend to buy stuff from them, because they have a whole lot of money off, and protein powder's not cheap. So what I did do was I bought an order in their end of financial year sale. So I bought, these were on clearance for $9.99, these protein puddings, and I will use these in the Ninja Creamy as like the Jello pudding mix to help with the texture of them, and they were on sale for $9.99. So we're going to use those real cookie pieces, apparently, peanut truffle fudge. So I thought that they were a good buy because they were so heavily discounted. I bought our standards that I always buy, which is the vanilla flavor that the kids use in things like their protein bakes, which is almost empty. So I bought one of those. And then because you spend a certain amount, you get their free mystery end of financial year 25 mystery one. I'm not sure what this is. We're going to have to taste it to see. It smells somewhat chocolatey, but we will have a guess. If you guess it right, you can win things, but we very rarely put the guesses in. The other thing I got were the 2 flavors that I like using in the instant porridge. So the mixed berry white chocolate cheesecake going with the PB&J flavored instant porridge works really well. And then I got the banana cream pie one to go with the choc banana flavored one, because they work really well in those. So I grabbed these from their end of financial year sale, and I will probably buy something at their Black Friday sale as well, because they have a big discount and we go through it pretty quickly. And as much as it's unnecessary, because I get asked why do I use the protein powders, it's not necessary to use them, but I do find that it makes some of the stuff that they eat more filling, more nutrient dense, and I prefer these almond and peanut proteins. If I'm going to eat them, I prefer the texture of these. I don't mind the whey-based ones, but the kids can't have the whey-based ones. And I do not particularly like the ones that are all fava bean or all something like that. I find that these almond and peanut ones work well. I do prefer the almond ones myself, but the kids are happy with the peanut ones, and the peanut ones are cheaper. So they have a kilo bag versus the 800 gram bag of the almond, and they end up being about $5 cheaper as well, I think. The peanut ones, even though they're a bigger size, obviously peanuts are cheaper to process than almonds. But so I thought I'd show you that while I'm doing this. And yes, I don't have a discount code or anything because they didn't. I did try and sign up to their affiliate thing, but I think because I'm not a fitness person or whatever else, it wasn't, their thing. So I should upload this recipe onto the recipe community, and then anyone who has a TM6 or 7 would be able to access it. I'll have to look at that. I need to get it on the website, maybe recipe community. We'll see how we go. But normal. I was just thinking too, so we've got lots and lots of eggs at the moment. And I was thinking that what I should do is some salted egg yolks, because we do have an excess amount of eggs. So I might have to do that as well. But what are we doing? So we're just doing our standard pancake bake, which is 400 grams of yogurt. I'm using the Greek yogurt that we buy at Costco at the moment, because making yogurt is just something that I'm not getting to at the moment. And this is really well priced. So we just do 400 grams of yogurt. We do 6 eggs. We do 2 scoops of the protein powder, which I think I'll have to open the other one as well, I think, which ends up being about 80 grams, I think. And it's only 15, so we're going to open the new one, which, as I said, we tend to just use this Hawaiian salted vanilla as our base protein for the kids in anything that I use it for in baking. So couple of scoops of that, and we're up at about the 80 grams of that. We're going to put a tablespoon of baking powder. What have I got here? A teaspoon. So we'll do 3 heaped ones of those. We're going to put a pinch of salt, except my salt's empty as per usual whenever I go to use it. Pinch of salt, and then we've got a jar of my pureed fruit, so it's just pureed berries in a jar. And some flour. So we can do 350 grams of flour. And then we blend it. And that is it. So nice. One bowl, super simple, everything in. Let's blend this. Oops. On speed 4. Start. Go up to 5. I normally do. 4 seemed awfully slow. And I normally do sort of 20 seconds, scrape it down, make sure it's blended again, and that's it. That's a 1 bowl protein pancake bake. The kids do like some chocolate chips sprinkled over the top. This is a lot quieter, isn't it? Sometimes I really notice the difference, sometimes I don't. So let's have a look. I need a spatula, the sides of the bowl down, any flour that got flicked up, like that. Do a quick spin, and we'll line this baking tray. Get all this. So this is the batter. Looks just like pancake batter. We pour it in, and then we bake it. It takes about 45 minutes at about 180. I will put some chocolate chips on top because the kids really like them, and I really don't have a problem with adding them. So, and I might do the salted egg yolks, but I might do them, I'll take the footage of making them and I'll hold on to it because it takes about a week or so before you can use them, maybe a bit longer in this weather. And we use them grated like Parmesan over salad, over pasta and stuff. So what I might do is I'll take the footage of making the egg yolks, but I probably won't use it now. I'll turn it into a longer video with the actual using of it as well. Let me grab the chocolate chips. Chocolate chips on. I've just stirred them in slightly because sometimes the kids can be sneaky and come and steal the chocolate chips off the top without eating the bake, which drives me nuts. So handful of chocolate chips on. Gonna get these in the oven. Alrighty, that's it. I did forget that I was going to start the chicken stock this morning, but it's too late now. It's already 10:30 and I've got other things to get done, and the kitchen's not clean enough. So I will start it first thing tomorrow. So I need to get all those carcasses out of the freezer before I go, and made up into stock and either on the shelf or whatever. That's what I normally do, is I normally can my chicken stock. So that can be done this week. Cowboy candy next week, apple butter barbecue next week once I'm back. I think that's how I'll do it. I'll get at least the chicken stock done and all those carcasses out of the way, and all the stock put on the stove. I think on the shelf. I think that's how I do it. And I think I'm going to make green chicken curry for dinner tonight. I make that all the time on here, but we have all that broccoli and zucchini still in the fridge that is ready to be used, which is my favorite vegetables to use in green chicken curry. And we were gifted some chicken from a local friend who had some excess chicken in the freezer that she didn't need, and she thought of us. We babysit her son every now and again, so she gave us some chicken that she had excess, and I've stuck that in the fridge to use up. There's a whole bunch of tenderloins and some chicken mince and stuff, so I will use that in the next 3 days before I go away. I might make some chicken Kievs or something, or some meatballs, and some maybe the satay of the tenders and stuff that can be used while I'm gone, to make it easier for Darryl. And yeah, so I think I'll leave it there. I think this is well and truly long-winded and squirrely enough as it is. It's been one of those days already, and it's only 10:30 in the morning. I think it might be a 2 coffees before lunchtime day. So I think I'll make myself another one and go and try and get this last part of the D&D job done, and we'll see how we go. So I will, yeah, That's it from me. Have a good Sunday, guys, and I will see you on the next video.